Good day, everyone. I am, and welcome to I Am Vibes. For this lesson, we are going to discuss the environment and the human person. It presents the pressing environmental issues in our society and their impact on the lives of human persons. It also discusses different philosophical views on the environment that will help the students understand their role in the preservation and conservation of natural resources. It will also enable the students to become aware of the different environmental risks and thus lead them to formulate some alternatives which aims for the protection and conservation of the environment. The basic requirement for survival, air, water, soil, food, and etc. are acquired through the environment that makes all of the living organisms, including humans, are dependent on it. To standardize the quality of life, the human person uses the environment in different sectors of development activities that later on offered different environmental problems. We have learned in the previous lesson that human person as an embodied spirit is conscious, has involvement, and free to move in reaching his or her material and immaterial transcendence. It was also learned that whatever action of the body has a corresponding effect on the soul. A human person has the freedom to his or her body, but may also take charge of accountability into it. For this lesson, it will help us understand the freedom of human action and behavior and its accountability for his or her actions and choices made with regards to his or her environments. Philosophers believe that a human person can change the environment to suit his or her purposes. This lesson also aims to develop a moral relationship of human beings with the environment and non-human contexts. Human population effects. In 1798, Thomas Robert Malthus, an English clergyman, made a terrible prediction on his theory of carrying capacity of Earth, stating that Earth could not support an ever-increasing human population. He said that the planet would suffer the population growth through famine if human persons do not check themselves. The increase in human population has an impact on both natural and human-built environments. Rising human populations and the Industrial Revolution have stripped people off of the land. The promotion of urban life and the building of cities or suburban life do not offer solutions to environmental problems. The escalation of violent crimes, drug addiction, abusive behaviors in families, and suicides would seem to indicate the obvious fact that human-built environments cannot tolerate a continual increase in population density. Since the standard human lifeway is to exploit all the natural species and resources, natural environments meet rising human populations, but showing vastly increasing exploitation, degradation, and resource reduction. In the face of this impact, one must ask whether a human person can continue to sustain rising global populations, especially if he or she continues to act in accordance with the concepts and attitudes that have brought him or her to this place. Now, can a human person feed, clothe, and house without compromising the rest of nature? The demands that this growth places the global environment of the human person threatening to the future of sustainable life on Earth. However, the human person can also have a great contribution in making the problem simple by understanding and valuing the philosophy of the environment. Now, let us understand the environment and the environmental philosophy. The environmental philosophy took off in the 1970s through engaging topics in metaphysics, epistemology, and the cosmology with the environment. Some writers say that the puzzle about human beings lies at the heart of environmental philosophy. Humans are unique in having a morally special status, a moral value that no other living or non-living thing has. A person is morally special because he or she can talk or think, engage in dialogue with each other, or has possibilities of pleasure and pain denied to other living things. He or she builds lives around projects to make sense of himself or herself, to particularly on relationships and surroundings. And he or she is aware of his or her own mortality in a way that other things are not. Since human person is special then, this can be seen as a justification for a human-centered worldview and an attitude towards an environment that treats other things, living or not, as means to human flourishing rather than having any value of himself or herself. When we say environment, it means the total of all surroundings of living organisms, including natural forces and other living things, which provides conditional development and growth as well as danger and damage. That is according to Endriga 2017. Environmental philosophy, on the other hand, is a discipline that examines the relationship of a human person to nature or his or her natural environment. It reviews the philosophical understandings of nature and the conception of its value and entitlements. It also explores how a human person cope up with nature and to what degree nature is or is not implicated in his or her own human identity. It is in an orderly environment where human person thrives best. As a rational being, the human person is not only capable of transforming the world, but also understanding the laws which govern nature. It can be said that the world is a text which a person can read and understand to live a better life. The human person may treat the world as a source of raw material to be used in any way he pleases, or as something that envelopes and surrounds him and does have a unique relationship with it. Now, does the environment have value in and of itself regardless of how humans use it? That question is at the foundation of the philosophical debates of humans about the environment. There are two basic sides of this debate. Some say that humans have greater moral value than anything else on earth. This justifies the use of the environment to preserve and have better lives. However, there is another side of this debate, one which argues that all things contain the inherent and equal value. These two debatable sides fall on the two major perspectives on environmental philosophy to the central thinking of human person about nature and his or her relationship into it, according to Pioneer 2010. These are namely the Anthropocentrism and the Ecocentrism. Anthropocentrism focuses on the significant role of the human person in the world and considers nature and how humans meet their needs in order to survive. This view believes that a human person is one of the most important species on the planet, and he or she has the freedom to transform nature and use its resources. Characteristics: human-centered, which humans are superior and central to the universe. There is an unfair or unjust utilization of the environment that leads to ecological crisis. Human arrogance is justifiable to satisfy his or her own interest. Humans adopt an exploitive attitude for his or her own profit or gain. Humans over or against environment. And some effects are global warming, pollution, soil erosion, and famine. Ecocentrism places great value on ecosystems and biological communities. This view believes that humankind is a part of a greater biological system or community, and that a human person has a significant role as a steward or guardian of nature. This view promotes the idea that order and balance in nature brings about stability and beauty. It highlights the philosophical assertion that all things have inherent value is known as ecocentrism. Ecocentric philosophies claim that the value or worth of a rock or tree or water is not judged simply by the ways that humans use it. Instead, it is valuable because it plays a role in the greater environment. Ecocentrism is directly opposed to anthropocentrism, which claims the humans have more inherent value than other things. Characteristics include devoted to preserve the totality of the Earth's biodiversity, there is order and balance in nature, and ecology over or against humans. The biodiversity and ecological integrity of Earth are being lost at an ever-increasing rate due to the anthropocentric attitude of human impacts. Changing a worldview of a human person to ecocentrism offers hope for solving the environmental crisis. There are three theories for ecocentric model. First, we have deep ecology. It is an ecological philosophy developed by a Norwegian philosopher, Arne Naes, in the early 1970s, asserting that all life forms have an equal right to exist, and human needs and desires have no priority over those of other organisms. This theory believes that the living organisms or environment should be respected and regarded as having the rights to flourish, independent of its utility to humans. The second theory is known as a social ecology. It is a critical social theory founded by American anarchist and libertarian socialist author Murray Bookchin. It is conceptualized as a critique of current social, political, and anti-ecological trends. It espouses a reconstructive, ecological, communitarian, and ethical approach to society. Third theory is known as the ecofeminism. It is also called ecological feminism, a branch of feminism that examines the connections between women and nature. Its name was coined by French feminist François Aubin in 1974. It is a philosophical idea that combines ecology and feminism concerns, emphasizing that both suffer from their treatment by a male-dominated society. It comes from the idea that women and nature have a significant connection, since women most often have a close association with nature in many societies due to the nature of their traditional roles. The influence of humanity on an environment can be best understood if the human person considers the person as a dynamic source of change within his particular environment and must know to utilize technology with accountability. Environmental philosophy requires the human person to understand his or her relationship with his or her environment and recognizes that technology is essential. Technology is the application of scientific knowledge to the practical aims of human life and the manipulation of the human environment, according to Britannica 2020. Philosophy of technology is a significant subordinate to any adequate philosophy of the environment. Thus, having a wise relationship to environments ought to be mainly expressed as a general conception of a wiser technological behavior, appropriate behavior to responsive technology. Technology is growing each day. As a result, modern inventions are created more to serve the needs of people around the world. Life is now more comfortable than what it was before, and these modern inventions are something to be given credits for. Therefore, a human person needs to understand before he or she can ever think ethically about the relationship with what surrounds him or her. The behavior of a human person depends on some form of social connection, with the consequence that he or she accepts limitations and restraints on his or her interactive behaviors. Remember that ethical behavior is to extend past other human and onto plants, animals, and even landscapes. The human person needs to know, in deeply serious way, what is the true connection of these things with oneself. Thank you for attentively listening to our lesson. This time, let us proceed to the assessment section. Once again, thank you for tuning in. I am Vibes.